for a long time, for quite a lot of my working life, between the age of 16 through to about 25, I had this belief that money was evil. Essentially, I shouldn't learn about finances, that the primary purpose of money was to elevate your social status. So the purpose of money was to go out and buy things, and the buying of those things was to kind of signal to other people that you have the money to be able to buy these things. So, you might buy a nice car so that you can drive it around and show people that you can afford a nice car. Or you might buy nice clothes so that you can put them on and walk around and show people that you can afford nice clothes, etc., etc. And I held this belief quite strongly. And I also believed that that was not how I wanted to elevate my social status. I obviously wanted people to like me and respect me and love me, as everybody does, but I didn't think that that was the way to do it. I thought that's how people try to do it, but that's not what I want. And I had this kind of like disgust factor or ick factor when people would say things like, oh, I just bought X and I guess how much this was, and we'd talk about the price of it. And I was really deterred by that. And I think that that deterrence of money, that sense of money is evil, really held me back. And here's why. Well, here's a little story as to kind of how I figured that out. One evening, I was at my mother and father-in-law's house, and we were all chatting, and I had a cup of coffee, but it was quite late for me to have a cup of coffee. Anyway, we all kind of went to bed and were staying there for the night, and my wife and I were lying in bed. She fell asleep, and I was there, just sitting there wide awake. I couldn't get to sleep, and so I crept out of the room, crept downstairs, and I thought, well, no, I'll just go to the bookshelf and I'll find a really boring book, and I'll read the boring book, and it'll put me to sleep. So I was looking through the bookshelf and found this book called The Barefoot Investor, and I thought, bingo, that's the perfect book. Money, finances, investing, can't get any more boring than that. And so I sat down, opened it up, started to flick through the pages, and about 3 hours later, I was still there reading it, and I got through most of the book, and I was totally energized. I was like, this is a really important book. How come I hadn't thought about these things sooner? And essentially, what it was telling me was that the purpose of money wasn't to elevate your social status, though that's something that it can be used for. Essentially, the purpose of money was to try and get to a sense of financial independence and stability. And that sense of financial independence and stability is highly individual. So some people might feel more stable with more money, whereas other people will feel more stable with less money. But the goal is to essentially build a financial base that then you can then start to explore the world and live your life in a way that you actually want to live it without the worries of money. And he gave some strategies as to how to do that, though I'm not going to talk about that today. I think it's important that you go out and find your own way. But the big thing for me, the insight for me, was this shift of this very narrow and naive view of money as just a way to make you sort of look better to other people, to money is a powerful tool that, when used correctly, can build independence, can build stability, and can allow you to live the life you want to live. And you should take it seriously. So this was sort of my mid-20s, and now I'm in my mid-30s. So for the past sort of 8 to 10 years, my wife and I have been a lot more clever with our money. I wouldn't say that we've been drastically frugal or anything like that, but we have just been consistently putting money into longer term investments, consistently putting money into our savings, and at the same time still doing fun things with our money, like going on a few holidays and, uh, you know, just stuff of life. If I hadn't come across this book, if I hadn't opened my mind to thinking about finances, it could be that the last 10 years I continued to live in the same way that I had lived the previous 10 years, which was whatever came in was spent just as quickly as it came. And I hadn't saved anything. And I think that I would be in a far less comfortable financial situation now, and I'd be a lot more worried and stressed about money, because let's be real, we do stress a lot about money, if I hadn't put those simple strategies in place. So, if you're someone who, like me, is avoiding learning about money and avoiding learning about finances because you just feel as though by doing so you're selling your soul, or you're worshipping at some golden altar, I encourage you to think about money differently. I encourage you to imagine the kind of life that you would like to have in 10, 15, 20 years' time. And is that a life where you feel as though you have to constantly be working and stressing and striving after money just to get by? Or is that a life where you'd like to have a base of finance and wealth that gives you the stability and the reassurance that you can then go off and explore the things in your life that are truly meaningful to you without the fear of going broke, without the fear of, you know, not being able to put food on the table. Anyway, this is not financial advice. This is just a recommendation to go and learn more about money and learn more about finances, because I feel that that shift in understanding has radically changed the way that I live my life, and has given me a lot more freedom and flexibility. And I encourage you to try and find that in your own unique way. So, if this idea has helped, or you believe that someone else might benefit from hearing this take on money, please share it. Please like the video. And if you want to hear more videos and listen to me chat to you about ideas that have truly helped me, and I believe will help other people too, then subscribe. Love to make a community of people who are genuinely interested in learning and sharing ideas that promote life, that help us to live a better life. So, on that note, thank you for watching. I really appreciate you coming here and listening, especially if you've come all the way to the end. Until next time, take care.